Good morning, students. Now, today we are going to do chapter 11 Infrastructure. So, basically, what does infrastructure mean? Infrastructure refers to the support system of economic and social development of a country. Imagine life in the absence of the means of transport and communication. Imagine life in the absence of the education institutes, hospitals, and nursing homes. Imagine life in the absence of electricity or oil, diesel. Absence of these things would only drive us to the primitive age when production was just for subsistence. Production activity did not yield surplus for growth and development. So basically, whenever we talk about growth and development of a country, we always look at the kind of infrastructure a country is having. So here we can see that the pictures here is shown that transportation facilities are there, roads are there, electricity is there by the solar panels. So basically all these things are required to have a just kind of good development in a country. If these kind of facilities are present in the country, then definitely the company will be more likely to be present in a certain country. Now, infrastructure refers to the support system of economic and social development of the country, without which economic growth and social development would only remain to be primitive. Basically, when we look at the industries like road, electricity, all these things are required in the country. At the same point of time, we always talk about the social development also. So, social development refers to education and hospital facilities. All these medical facilities also required. It improves the health and lifestyle of the people. In the same manner, if we talk about the education sector, definitely the education sector provides a lot for the peoples, because an educated person can definitely do well in his life, and such kind of people are increased in number. Suppose in India, if the education level will be improved, definitely more peoples will be engaged in the production activity, and because of which the India is going to attain its growth, and it will become a developed country one day. Now, what are the economic and social infrastructure? So basically, economic and social infrastructure, first of all, we will be discussing economic infrastructure. So in economic infrastructure means that it refers to such elements support like power, means electricity, transport, and communication, which serve as the driving force for the production of the economy. So I told you already that all these companies, when they will be coming, say for example in India, then they will be requiring electricity, transport, and communication. Without this thing, they will not find any kind of help. Now, abundant availability of power supply would accelerate the pace of production activity. Abundant means transport would facilitate the movement of the good from producers to the consumers. Abundant means of communication would facilitate exchange, and so on. In the absence of infrastructure facilities, it is virtually not possible to develop an efficient system of growth and development. So just like that, if all this economic infrastructure are present in the country, then definitely the producers can easily reach the customers, and there will be good transportation facilities which will help to flourish all different kinds of businesses in India. Now, what is social infrastructure? So social infrastructure refers to the elements support like school, colleges, as I told you, hospitals and education services and all these. If these conditions are improve in kind of country like in India, then definitely we can say that social development is also happening along with the economic development of the country. Now, nursing homes, which serves as a driving force of the social development of the country. The social development refers to the human resource development. So here the people of the countries are developed, their standard of living will improve. So in it occurs only when there is a healthy and efficient workforce in the country. So when they will be healthy, they will only be healthy when the good health facilities or medical facilities are available there. Now, while economic infrastructure accelerates the process of growth, and social infrastructure accelerates the process of human development. So here, economic and social infrastructure both are required. Now, indeed, economic growth is a complete without human development. Accordingly, economic and social infrastructure are complementary to each other. One reinforces the other. So, both the things are related and they go hand in hand together. Okay, so when we talk about education, if a person is educated, definitely he will be providing his services towards some industry or towards some different sector. Like here, if the child is getting educated, maybe tomorrow he'll become a nurse or maybe a doctor, something like that. So it really supports, so both are required. Now, what is infrastructure and development? In infrastructure and development, let us first talk about the infrastructure. How does it promote the productivity? So let us start that productivity in the primary sector. So basically, in primary sector, the most of the things which are required, such as machinery, good irrigation facilities, which really flourish the growth of the primary sector. All these things are required. In absence of it, it is of no use. So think of the agriculture production without permanent means of irrigation. Agricultural production would have depend entirely on the rainfall. Farmer would sow the seed only if it rains. If the rainfall is deficient, sowing would also be deficient. It means that in the absence of permanent means of irrigation, actual output in agriculture would remain lower. So here, even today in India, we can look at the agriculture sector that they only depend on rainfall. So there are improper irrigation facilities in India in many places. So this is the reason, basically the low productivity of the primary sector. So if this irrigation facility would have been good, then definitely the productivity will also rise per hectare area in the agriculture land. Now the second point, if we talk about the secondary sector, so in it, the think of the industrial production without such sources of energy, coal, petroleum, and electricity. So all these things are required for the production purposes. Now perhaps industrial production would then depend upon the wind energy and solar energy. However, these still underdeveloped sources of energy, implying a low level of productivity. So basically, right now we are just using this energy through coals, means electricity being produced by coal, petroleum is being used, electricity by other means also is there. So if these things are not there, then definitely we are going to use wind energy or solar energy for making electricity, and which will be used by the industry. So in absence of this, it will be difficult to flourish. Third point, in the tertiary sector, it is also an important sector because the tertiary sector is the most profitable sector at present scenario. Now, let's come to the tertiary sector. Let us consider tourism as a production activity. Can tourism be a productive activity in the absence of rapid means of transport and communication? Certainly not. In the absence of means of transport and communication, tourism would perhaps exist as a hobby of explorers like Columbus and Vasco da Gama. So many tourists come to India to visit many places like Agra, Delhi. So they always look for good transportation facilities. If the transport facilities and all these communication facilities are not there, then this sector will also not going to rise. So all these things are required. Even for IT services, the electricity will be required because the computer will be used over there. So there, without this electricity, it is not possible to earn in this tertiary sector also. Thus we can say that all the sector of the economy, that primary, secondary and tertiary, higher productivity is possible only if you have good infrastructural facilities. So every sector is related somehow to this infrastructure or dependent on this infrastructure only. Now, infrastructure induces investment. The second point. Now, the infrastructure induces investment means what? When a developed network of highway would definitely induce investment across all the sector of the economy because it facilitates movement of goods and services across different regions of the country. Suppose good network of highways means if there are good roads, roadways are there, so easily the goods can be transported from one place to the. So this will induce the investment. Means if suppose in a country, in a city, any city in Madhya Pradesh, so in the earlier days there was no proper road in Madhya Pradesh, but today there are some highways which have been developed. So you can see that there's presence of some more industries now. So why the people will invest? When they will find good infrastructural facility, then every entrepreneur would like to invest. He will also set up an industry or business somewhere. Now the third point, infrastructure generates linkage in the productions. So developed means of transportation and communication. Ample means large availability of sources of energy along with good facilities of banking and insurance would generate inter-industrial linkage. It is a situation when expansion of one industry facilitate the expansion of the other. According to the growth of self-propelling activity of change. So basically what they're trying here, that infrastructure generate a linkage in the production. So see, every primary, secondary, tertiary sector, all these sectors are doing production in their own way. Now, what happens if one sector will rise? Suppose the primary sector is improving, then definitely the secondary sector will also improve. Means if the agriculture sector is improving, they will require machinery like tractor. So secondary sector will make such kind of agriculture equipments. Now the third sector, tertiary, like banking, they'll be providing loan to the secondary sector industries, which will help all the sector to grow together. So it is a kind of link between all this sector. The infrastructure connects all this sector. Now, fourth point, infrastructure enhances the size of the market. So it also increases the size of the market, because we know that large scale production is possible only when the size of the market is large. So infrastructure enhances the size of the market. If it was with a view to expand size of the market for the British product in India that a network railway was developed. So what happened when we talk about railway? So definitely railway was started by British. So why the railway was established? Simply the Britishers wanted to expand their market. So similarly, if the roads are being made in India, so infrastructure would be there. So suppose in any state, if the roads are not there, but tomorrow if the road are being made in that particular state, what will happen? The companies will go there also. They will try to reach the consumers there also, and they will be selling, or movement of goods will start for that place as well. So this is how we can increase the size of the market through infrastructure. Now fifth point, infrastructure enhances ability to work. So here we are referring to the social infrastructure. So here education and medical institutions. These institutions promote education, skill information and healthcare. So these are very essential parameter to enhance the ability to work. Implying rise in the efficiency means when this education and health facilities are good, so with good health you are able to get education and learn something new, then you will be becoming productive, and definitely all these things which will increase going to improve your efficiency level, and when your efficiency will increase, your production productivity rise, and productivity rise means it will lead to more GDP of the country. Now infrastructure facilitate outsourcing also. So in country having a good infrastructure emerge as a destination for outsourcing. India is emerging as a global destination for call center, study center and medical tourism. It is owing to the largely sound system of the social infrastructure. So in our country the social infrastructure is very good. Like in our country many good IT engineers are there who can provide very good service, just like there in USA they are doing it, so we are also doing it here. So this shows that the infrastructure also gives a scope for outsourcing. Like India is getting work from USA, so USA is outsourcing work to India in form of KPO and BPO. So we are producing that kind of knowledge or education. Sectors are doing good somewhere. That's why we are getting help, and our outsourcing is really good in all these past years. Now infrastructure induces the FDI also. FDI is foreign direct investment with the controlling power in India. So it is an instrument in the growth in the process in less developed country like India, where the domestic investment is very low. So in India the people, their domestic investment is very low. That's why we always look towards the foreign direct investment if it happens in India. Like after 1991 what happened, economic reforms were initiated, so FDI flow in Indian economy has increased thanks to the expanding infrastructure. So because of this expanding infrastructure, those countries, those companies of outside, they were investing in India, with the controlling power, and definitely they set up their plants, and now they're performing really well. So also this infrastructure, when the infrastructure increases in a country, the FDI or foreign direct investment will also increase. The people will like to invest in India. So we can say that all these things are important. So we can say that the infrastructure is an important determinant of the growth and development of the country. Now let us look at the state of infrastructure in India. So here in infrastructure, the first part, that is energy, this has been removed from your syllabus. Okay, you don't have to do. So let us come to the second one, that is the health, a component of social infrastructure. So we'll be studying this. Now here health means a sound physical and mental system or state of the individual. It does not simply mean the absence of the disease. So basically, when you say that a person of a sound mind or a good body, we does not say that he's free from any kind of disease, but mentally he should also be fit. Now here, good health implies what? See, it increases the overall efficiency to handle difficult tasks. So the efficiency level of a person will rise with the good health. Then increase in productivity of the labor. If a person is a labor, that definitely his productivity will rise. And increase in the mental ability will also, if see, mental growth is also very important. If proper medical facilities are available even for children, then their growth will be proper, and they will be of a sound mind. With mental abilities mean they can remember anything if and they are trained upon something. With a poor mental condition, a person is not able to work. Now, the development of the healthcare services after independence. So, at the time of independence, the healthcare system was very poor. Now it has improved quite a bit. Now there has been a substantial improvement in the health facilities after this independence. So first thing, which by which you can say that it has increased, that decline in the death rate. So death rate has come down from the high like 27 per thousand to 6.3 per thousand in 2017. So in all this year, this death rate has come down, which shows the positivity of health services in India. Now, reduction of infant mortality rates. So, the children who are infant means less than 1 year of age. So, their death rate has also come down. It came down like in it reduced from 146 per thousand in 1991 to 32,000. So, it is a huge decrease in the number in 2017. Then rise in the expectancy of the life. So earlier the expectancy of the life was 32 years in 1951 because a lot of people were died because of hunger. They're not having availability of the food. Today it has been improved to 69.4 years. So it has been a very good rise now. Now control over deadly disease. So there was diseases like cholera, smallpox, tuberculosis. So all these were controlled. Then decline in under 5 year mortality rate. So under 5 year mortality rate has declined significantly from 248 per thousand in 1960 to 39 per thousand in 2017. So in under 5 years means those children who are of under 5 years of age, their death rate has also brought down. So this shows that healthcare services really did a good job. Now, following this as the tables, expansion of the healthcare services is shown here. In year 1951, what was the condition, and year 2017, what was the condition? Look at the number of medical colleges. It increased from 28 to 460. Then dispensary 9,000 to 58,000. Then healthcare facilities like primary healthcare centers in the rural areas like sub centers are there, CHC centers are there. So it has increased like about 1 lakh 87,000 from 725. So the number has multiplied many numbers of time. Number of beds also, look, just 3.2 means here it has been a great number in 2013 lakh 76,000. Still we are working on it. Like in this COVID situation, number of bed has been increased. So this is the old data. Right now the condition is much better. Now the doctors are also increased here, 61,000 18 lakh. Now here nurses 18,000 28 lakh. So numbers are huge. Numbers doctor per doctor number of doctor per thousand of population. So there are now 13 doctors per 10,000 number of population in India. So availability of doctor is still less, but more doctor hopefully should come in the future also. Now, significantly, it is to note that the number of dispensaries in hospital has increased from little over 92,000 to approximately 58,233. Now, entire thing which I have explained you earlier, it has been mentioned here. So let us start here about healthcare system in India. So basically, it is called a three-tier healthcare system. Under it, what comes? The primary healthcare centers comes, means Pratmik Chikitsalaya. Then CHC center will be there, central healthcare. Then sub centers will be there. Now, what are these? So these are small hospitals or healthcare centers set up in mostly in the small towns and rural areas, managed by a single doctor and A&M nurse. So what is A&M nurse? Basically this is a low level type of nurse, and a single doctor will be managing the conditions in the rural areas and small towns. So you'll find the healthcare center like this primary healthcare center will be there. So here an image is shown here, a primary healthcare center. So this is in a much better condition, I think the pictures given, but there are some in a very poor condition also. Okay, now second point here, this center focus on educating people on the issues relating to healthcare and provide immunization facilities against infectious diseases. So basically जो भी हम टीका सुनते हैं, टीका लगना वगैरह, so immunization against the all this kind of infectious disease, it will be treated over here in PHC centers. Okay, then preliminary treatment is offered to the patient within the manageable limits. So if a normal wound is there or cut is there, अगर चोट लग जाती तो all these things can be looked out in this primary healthcare sector. बाकी अगर से ज़्यादा critical है, the condition is critical of a patient, then they are going to refer them to the next level, okay, for the treatment. Now, it must be noted the community health center often work as a referral centers for the primary healthcare centers. Sometimes they used to refer the patient also to the bigger hospitals. Now, secondary tier 2 system, it includes the secondary healthcare institutions, means it is just a kind of good hospital kind of facility which will be there in the urban areas mostly. So this institution are upgraded to PHC, like प्राथमिक चिकित्सालय से ज़्यादा improved रहता है, okay, and have this facility for surgery, ECG and X-ray. So you can find like facilities like surgery will be done, ECG can be done, in X-ray can be done. Like if you look at our place, like in Madhya Pradesh, Ratlam is there. So you a civil hospital is there. So this is a good example, civil hospital of secondary healthcare institution. So they are located in big towns and district headquarters. Like Ratlam is there. Now the third one is the tertiary healthcare system. These are much better. So these are high-end, full equipped medical center offering the specialized medical facilities. So the tertiary sector includes the education and research centers like AIMS, which is in New Delhi, All India Institute of Medical Science, and PGI Institute is there, Postgraduate Institute in Chandigarh, then NIM HNS, National Institute for Mental Health and Neuroscience in Bengaluru. So basically, all these are well equipped. I think these are the kind of colleges which are really producing good doctors, or even some of them are going to abroad also. Now, private sector health infrastructure. So here following are some of the notable observation regarding this private sector health infrastructure. What are the condition of private sector in hospitalization? It has been good. I think most of the private hospitals has been come in all this past year. So the private sector accounts for more than 18% of the total healthcare spending in India. So here the private sector is spending a lot, 80% of the total healthcare spending in India. So of course the seeking treatment, 70% rural and 81% urban patients are availing private non-institutional outpatient facilities, and 58% rural and 62% urban are going to private hospital. So big number you can see, 78 to 80% from the urban patient, and definitely even in rural area it is around the 58%, means it is like patients are coming from urban area and rural area for the treatment in private hospital. So why do they go to that private hospital? Because they find good facilities in the private hospitals. Okay, so that is the kind of thing, because they arrange doctor from somewhere. So that is the thing which is required for a patient. So that's why they always look for private institute and hospitals, and not for government hospitals. After this, the third point is private sector in healthcare has gained a dominant presence in all the sub-market: medical education, training, medical technology and diagnostic, manufacturing and sale of pharmaceutical, hospitals, construction, and finally the provision of medical services. Now, this hospital okay, are helpful in this pharmaceutical selling of all these medicines also. So that industry is also rising, and it is all these technology equipments industries also there in the private sector. Medical education also, some of the colleges are also providing this education facilities. So private sector is doing a good job here. Now at the time of independence, the private sector in India was accounted to only 8% of the healthcare facilities. So in the beginning stage, at the time of independence, the private sector was not that much involved. Now but today 93% of the hospitals, 64% of bed, and 80 to 85% of doctors belong to the private sector. A huge number is there, means which means 80 to 85% doctor belonging to the private sector, means only 50% is there in the government, which means the private institutes or colleges or all the hospitals, they are providing all kind of services and they are really improving the conditions of India. So we can say that private sector has emerged as the main dominant source of healthcare service in India. So its position is very good now. Now, health as an emerging challenge. So, health definitely it's always an emerging challenge. So, considerate efforts since independence have produced a good result in the area of health, a key component of social infrastructure. As already noted, it is significant that death rate has come down. Okay, then infant mortality rate has come down, birth rate has come down, expectancy life has increased, in epidemic death. All these things already we read about in the earlier points also. Yet, healthcare system India continues to be a challenge. Still, it's a challenge. Why? Because there is unequal distribution of healthcare services, which means what? Distribution of healthcare service is extremely unequal across rural and urban sectors of the country. Most of the healthcare facilities have been confined to the urban area. Like if you go to the rural area, you rarely find any kind of healthcare services over there. But in urban areas, like some kind of city, you'll find all kind of facilities over there. So there's a huge gap between this rural and urban areas. So this is a problem. Now, communicable diseases. Now, diseases like AIDS and this HIV, SARS virus, now Corona also, so are raising their ugly heads and posing a serious threat to the society because these communicable diseases are still persistent and they are still surviving. Now, the poor management. So, what is poor management? See, there is a substantial mismatch between the number of patients and number of healthcare centers. Now, health personnel are grossly inadequate, particularly in the rural areas, and often the rural folk have rushed to the urban healthcare center for being the victims of the local quacks or unauthorized dealers. Now, what happens if poor management is there means healthcare services are not in the reach of the rural area. So, what the rural area people do, they will be looking out for some kind of good health facilities services, and they'll be finding some unauthorized doctor maybe in their area or somewhere else. So this will be a problem for them. They'll be treated by a untrained doctor maybe, who can give him a wrong suggestion or wrong medication, which can lead to a sudden death of that person. Now, privatization means the government is gradually moving towards the privatization of the healthcare services. Now, the number of private hospitals is surging in the place of government hospitals. So, consequently, healthcare is becoming increasingly expensive and beyond the reach of the millions of in India. So, most of the this uh, hospitals will be privatized maybe in future, and privatization will be done because this salary and all this structure is too much. The means the cost of maintenance of all this kind of hospitals too much, and it is out of the reach of the government. So basically these are expensive, and many peoples are unable, they are unable to reach out to the many peoples. So private is the thing which is reaching out to all these people, and they are really investing in this sector. So basically government, maybe possible the government will in future privatize all these kind of institutes, and they will be giving this thing in the hand of the private players. The poor maintenance. So upkeep and maintenance of the government healthcare center is very poor. The quality difference between private and public hospitals, so it is the people often compelled to depend on the private treatment even when are not affordable. So basically all this maintenance, when you talk about the maintenance, though, we can say that all this kind of civil hospital and all this kind of government hospital, the condition of maintenance very poor. Rarely you'll find the cleanliness over there, the smell will come. But in the private hospital the condition is so good, every time the cleaning will be done, housekeeping is so good. Even the floor you can see no stains, and it will be very good environment over there. So what happens, the maintenance and upkeeping is very good in the private sector, if you in comparison to this government sector. The poor sanitation level is there. Now, sanitation level is extremely poor in both the rural and urban areas. Now, this is poor in both the areas. So, see, first of all, we need make clean surrounding where we live and work. So, to arouse awareness of the sanitation among the masses and encourage their participation in the awareness program. So, if you talk about all this toilets facility should be there. So, improper facilities can be seen in both the areas, rural as well as urban. So, working should be more work needs to be done in this particular area. So in both this area, we are behind the international standards. It has been found that in nearly 30% of the houses have no toilet facilities in the urban area. In the urban slums, sanitation is absolutely miserable. So slum dwellers means juggi jhopdi wale jo log hain, are highly prone to disease and disasters. So rural sanitation is still worse. In recent survey of 150 districts in India, kacha latrines are found to be luxury. So rural population does not have even 20% of the required sanitary facilities. So basically they are simply pointing out toward the facilities of this toilet, and also still it is a kind of thing that a toilet should be there inside the hospital, and outside also it is required. So basically when all the patient all this sanitation should be done, and cleanliness is required, but the condition is very poor in the government sector, especially when we look at the private sector, it is also like that there. So now briefly we can say that the state healthcare in India, though it has significantly improved over time, is still be behind the developed countries of the world. So to illustrate, we can say that the health expenditure is 15% of GDP in USA. So USA is spending 15% of GDP of its parts of GDP upon these healthcare facilities, and India is spending only 5%. So still we are well behind the developed countries of the world. Now in India, government share is the total expenditure in healthcare is about 20%, contrasting with the 50% in USA. So we can see the expenditure is very low in India in comparison to the USA. Already USA is doing a lot better in comparison to India, but still the part of GDP maybe in future we expect some rise in India's expenditure also. Now Indian system of medicine. So what is this? The Indian system of medicine are the system of medicine which are considered to be Indian in origin, or which have come to India from outside and got assimilated into Indian culture. So all this system of medicine, because there are various system of medicine all around, like Unani is there, Yoga is there, Siddha is there, naturopathy, homeopathy, together they are called as Ayush. Okay, so these are the Indian system of medicine. So maybe some are of Indian origin and some have come from outside, like Unani has come from Yunan. So as on April 1st 2015, there are 3600 ISM hospitals, to 26,325 dispensary, 50,020 beds, 7,44,563 registered practitioners are there, 544 undergraduate colleges are there, 150 postgraduate colleges are there. So all this Indian system has been increasing because of the dispensaries, beds, registered practitioners who are practicing this, like doctors are there. So they are the registered doctor who are practicing like doctorate over there. Now undergraduates also there, postgraduate colleges are also there. So they are really doing well in these areas. So this was the part. This was the chapter. So that's all. If you have any doubt here, you can ask me. Thank you.